My guest today is Mac Ruiz, and he is a financial coach. He is a business owner. He's in the movie production business and several other gigs out there.
So, what is your take on debt? I'm just out of curiosity.
Personally,
Because I mean, like obviously, I'm a big finance person, financial person. I do financial coaching. I do, obviously, I'm film industry. I own businesses, and I have a feeling we disagree a little bit on the approach of debt. I'm curious as where we do agree.
okay.
What is your belief in debt?
Um, man, that's a big question because in some ways I don't believe in debt unless they're put under a corporation.
Okay, I totally agree with you there, 100%. Personally, like personal debts,
Personally,
I don't do personal debts, mortgages. There is obviously an exception. That's a big bill to write.
I don't even mind personal debt because it's just a write off on everything that way.
Yeah,
You own your personal debt, so I don't really worry about personal debt either. I mean, we just bought a $1.2 million house.
right.
I got another piece of property over here
Yeah.
worth 600,000.
When you're thinking about like debt, and obviously and I'll answer this too, but it's like where do you see the United States, and it's not as the country. I'm talking about the everyday people out there and the way that they're using debt. You got credit card debt they're making minimums on. You've got mortgages they
You
cannot
can
afford.
if you're making minimum payments on anything in your life, you're crazy because you'll be paying for that the rest of your life. At 27% interest, minimum doesn't even hit. It would take you 30 years to pay it off if you keep paying off.
Yeah,
And they want you to do that because they're making 28%.
right. It's a great margin.
It ought to be against the law margin because it really chases the poorer people,
Yeah,
the less fortunate people,
Yeah.
maybe not poor, but the less fortunate because they don't know better.
yeah. Or time in life, right? Because there's poor people that are poor for generations. Then there's unfortunate people that have fallen into, and then there's obviously people that's just that's their it's just a season, right? They're 18, 19 years old, they're young, student loans, like, oh
90% of people don't even finish their school,
yeah,
and they've got all these student loans. I mean, my son's one. He applied for a student loan because he got in a grade problem at one of the schools he's going to, and all of a sudden his free ride was
Right.
over. And instead of calling dad
right,
and getting chewed out, he took a loan, student loan. Well, come find out, that student loan he took, buddy, he was partying every night. They gave him the money outright. Here's your money. Here, it wasn't for school. It's go do whatever you want to do. And those kids just used to have their beer, drugs,
yep,
whatever.
yep,
And to me, that's probably one of the biggest problems our government's ever got us into is allowing student loans.
yeah.
Like,
Oh, I agree, 100%. And that's kind of where I was like just thinking, it's like debt. When I'm thinking debt, I'm like, okay, car loans, bad. There's almost never a situation in which if you need to have a car loan, there's exceptions to the rule, right? Like you work in an industry in which there's rules. But for most people, and when I say most, 99% of the country, there's people making $40,000, $50,000 owning a $65,000, $70,000 car. To me, that's insane. That is a absolute insane waste of money. Yeah, it'll be paid off in 10 years because I think most of the auto loans now are 10 years. I'm not 100% sure, but because I've never had an auto loan. My first car was a $1,000 car. My second car was a $3,000 car. My third car was a $4,000 car. My fourth car was a $3,000 car.
so mine are a little different than you. I have the loans, but I go after a loan for 0%.
Yeah,
Why would I want to put my money into it?
right.
At 0%, it doesn't hurt me either way. I just make a payment every month.
Right.
There's
Right.
not a penalty.
How long does your 0% loans last? Typically?
36 months.
So then after that, you just pay it?
No,
Pay it
it's
off?
done at 36
Oh,
months.
you're done at 36. It's
I
0%
pay the
at 36.
2,200 to 2,000 36 months instead of walking in and paying 80,000 for the whole truck.
Yeah.
Let my bank sit and let my money work for me.
And I 100% understand that. I do. I guess it comes from the side that this is why I don't own any new cars. It's because I get it from both sides. I have the money to go buy the $80,000 car. I do. Pay it cash right now. And then I can't do it because I'm like, but my money's doing so much better working for me. So then I end up owning old cars.
Well, and then with a 0% financing, it's a whole different story because your money's still staying wherever it needs to be, whether it's a CD or a stock.
Right.
Somewhere you're not having to move money around to be able to buy an $80,000 unit.
Yeah.
So $2,200 a month, 36 months, I'm good with.
Yeah. Hey.
I got the money either way.
Either way. Correct.
And if I need my money for something else, I'm in.
So
I don't have
what
a
do you
problem.
think about Dave Ramsey and his philosophy and zero debt? Now, and he includes business debt. I disagree with him on business debt. I disagree with his methodologies on how he pays out mortgages. I think that it's mathematically incorrect. And I'm not talking like the avalanche payoff method versus the snowball for debt payoffs. And I'm just talking about, like, in his case, the mortgage even. He wants you to get a 15-year mortgage and then make extra payments to pay it down in 7.5. Like that's like the theory, the philosophy. He ain't wrong. It'll speed up the mortgage payment. Like with him, where I disagree with him wholeheartedly is like on the 30-year mortgage. I think the 30-year mortgage is a better mortgage across the board. Yeah, interest rates are a little higher, but your payment's lower. All the extra money you are making now, like from not making that payment, you could be throwing into investments, and then make an account like a brokerage account that's not a retirement style qualified account, and you're investing that into the market, and let it grow and continue adding to it. Let it grow till it's ready to pay off your house. Then in one swoop, you're there. To me, that's just mathematically better. You're letting the market work with you. You're using the lower interest rates, using someone else's money in this case to do it. And then when you want to pay it off for security reasons, because there's a lot of argument, and I agree with it. Maybe interest rates now, today, you actually speeding down your mortgage is probably smarter if you're sitting on a 7 or 8 versus, call it 2-3 years ago and it was 2 3/4. Yeah. Like my other house, we couldn't pay it off. We could write a check for it right then and there. I couldn't convince myself that I was going to lose a 3.5% interest because take 100 and I think it was like 120,000 I needed left to pay it off, or do I let that sit and grow? And that's made 20.5, 25, 30% over those years, a year, because it was good years. And the thought of losing that ability to grow that money during that time for over a 3.5% loan, I couldn't do. 7%, I can understand, but I think his methodology is wrong. I think that he should utilize like investment strategy stronger. Maybe his reasoning is because the people that he is talking to, it's easier for them to just focus on it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, just focus on the debt, because if you're making $55,000, $40,000, $50,000, $55,000 a year, if you're making that kind of money a year, you are basically, you're finding thin margins to do it. So if you can, I guess, double pay is where his philosophy is. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I worked for Dave Ramsey in the real estate side of his process for years, and I like some of his things. I'm interested in helping people always. In our business here, selling new homes for a builder, we deal with every kind of credit problem.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem we see in this industry is the amount of cash people do not have in the bank. To even make a $1,500 payment, I would say 20 to 30% of them don't even go through because it's not in the bank when they sign the contract. And you're sitting there going, oh my God, how am I going to get this guy in this house? How am I going to get this family in this house? It's my job to figure out how to get them in there.
Right.
And our mortgage teams. And when you start dealing with that, it makes it more personal because you're getting involved in their life, and paying everything off for them is not an option. They're doing good to eat.
Yeah.
And they don't have 3 months worth of
Emergency funds
sitting in place. And when you watch these people and they're walking in buying a $350,000 house and have $1,000 in the bank. So we got programs out there that help do that, but those people will never pay that house off in the 30 years ahead of it, probably.
Right.
I mean, it'd be passed on to the next family member in most cases.
Right.
So with debt, and I'll just sell my house when I pass. So I understand. I mean, there's people that can leave a legacy and get everything paid off by the way the Ramsey effect or model works.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't know. I think it's really for each person.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I have cash payments on certain pieces of property that I bought.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have loans on others that I buy and that I could go pay them off. But if I sit here on one piece of property, it's going to make me $100,000 a year just to sit there.
Right. Right.
Because there's no more land coming up in the area, and 10 acres on a home site's pretty nice to have. So that one there is pretty cool. And then our other home is a little different. Also, it's a little bitty house. We'll rent it out and put it in the market, but it's a paid-for house too.
Yeah.
I can go to the bank and borrow against that house. I can go to the bank and borrow against that piece of property because they're mine.
Right. Right.
Put them up for collateral, get whatever I need, or whatever I'm working on.
Yeah.
But there's certain things that I would tell people: if your interest rate is less than 5%, you're right even with inflation. You're not losing anything.
Mm-mm. Right. Right.
So why pay it all off?
Yeah. That's kind of an interesting concept that you mentioned earlier. Is like obviously we're in the Dallas area, and I'm from Atlanta, and obviously I'm recently here, and it's moved here because of the housing prices. Like, this is one of with an economy to support the lowest prices in the country for housing. Now, it has a lot to do with the landscape. Texas is very flat, makes it easy to build. Not a lot of big trees, makes it cheaper to clean. Atlanta is not very flat unless you're down south, like in the southern Atlanta. Atlanta and north is very tough to build, and it's also very tough to clear. So it's very expensive. But there's other places that are like Texas, but then they don't have the economy that, say, Dallas and Austin and Houston and San Antonio actually push. And you're seeing houses that are, you can get good houses even in the 270 range here, and obviously in the 350s, 360s. But what's even crazier is that we just came out of this like insane area, right, where interest rates were really high, the housing prices spiked, but the people that had realized that from the 3 years prior, when they were buying in 19 and 20 on 2 3/4, 3 1/4, 3 1/2, created this like vanguard of people that will not sell their homes. They won't even put them on the market because the interest rate's just so low. So they're freezing the market. And then housing prices went up. Interest rates started to drop a little bit, but not enough. And people coming in, 7% loans on really inflated housing, are finding themselves in a really bad spot.
Yes.
New builds here in the Dallas area, and obviously specifically in the East Dallas area, and I can't speak on the West Side. I don't know. Maybe it's like that too. But new builds were more competitive than the houses that are 5-10 years old.
Yeah.
What is happening? This doesn't even make sense.
Well, and these people that have the 9 and 10-year-old houses are trying to get new home prices.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Higher.
Higher. And the only reason they can't is because we have an interest rate at 3.99, and they're trying to compete with a 6 at the same price. They can't do it.
No,
There's no way.
They're asking for more. The interest rates are by default higher because the Fed is keeping the rates really high for a very long time. To a fault, and we can have that discussion. I believe to a fault of it's killing everybody, and I don't think most people realize that the Fed rate is single-handedly really causing a lot of the issues that we have right now. But aside from that, I mean, there are people trying to sell these houses, but they can't they literally can't compete. And I know that you work for a company. Obviously this is different. This podcast is aside from that. This is just you.
Right.
But you work for a company that bought down the interest rate, which is a common thing. I mean, those people selling those houses can buy down an interest rate for a prospective seller. My parents did. My parents had to sell their my grandmother's house. She had passed. They needed to sell the house, split it with her brother, my uncle, and she bought the rate down. Spent, I think it was like $20,000 or something to buy the rate down for the buyer coming in. The buyer said, "I want you to buy the rate down at this price," and they did it. It was part of the closing deal. But in this case, it's like, there was like 3.9% for FHA loans. It was 4.9% for conventional, and I'm like. And I had just I just got pre-qualified, so my credit just took a strike. And I'm like, damn it, I don't want to take another strike. But that interest rate does make the difference because we're talking, it was like a 2.5% spread.
I don't think what people understand, they're still paying for it.
Yeah.
I mean, the builders I know that are buying the rates down are spending 11 and 12 points to get these rates.
Right.
That price is in the figures of these houses.
Of course. But these houses are still lower.
A used home, they're putting those prices in there and not giving it back to help the people get in their house at a reasonable price.
Right. It's literally the most crazy thing. Like, because I had never, honest to God, hand to God, I was like, I don't think that there was ever a point in my life I was ever like, yeah, one day I'm going to buy a new house. Like, my parents went through a situation that literally bankrupted them, was to build a new house. Now, they weren't using a major corporate builder. It was a local builder that basically it cost them like 30-40% over, 50% over what it was intended. My dad was in construction. He saw the BS on the wall, but it was already too late. It's like once you're in it, you're in it, and they just started borrowing. They credit cards up and starting to, because their build loan wasn't enough to even cover, so it was like credit cards to finish. The well, they had to get a well because it was country. It was Show Low, Arizona, out in the sticks, and then the well ended up going 500 feet deeper or something like that than was intended. That cost like $30,000, and they had to file bankruptcy after they completed the house. And, luckily everything was able to be wrapped into the bankruptcy. And, in 7 years they were able to clear, and they're doing great now. But they learned their lesson, and it was a little bit on the trauma side on my side, right? Because I saw debt and the level of what debt kind of damage it would do. And then I also saw what getting a new house could do to you. But this was very different. And when my wife and I bought this house, was because it was already done. It's a new build. It was already done. We were not building the house, right? We were not paying somebody to build it. But yet here we are, 4.9%. It just still blows my mind that the rest of the market, the ability for when companies are coming in and doing this, they're serving a better good, actually, to the people.
Oh, definitely.
Because it's actually pulling the prices down around them. This, as long as this keeps up, it technically is bringing Dallas prices down. They're depressing them. In Atlanta, it doesn't have a depression price issue. Atlanta went up, and then it's stagnant, and it's been flatlining here.
See, I think it'll stay flat.
You guys, well, from 23 to early 25. 23, you guys peaked like we the rest of us did.
Right.
Then you guys dropped about 10%.
That's true.
And now it's
the market's dropping.
The whole market, the everything is the economy, the blue collar economy. We'll eliminate Wall Street. We don't have to discuss. We don't have to discuss what the stock market is going to do.
Oh hell, we'll get back in that one some other time because I think we would have an interesting discussion with those two between us.
But it was really interesting because my eyes were open to the new home process, the new home buy, and I was like, and it was my real estate agent, Richard was literally, and I think he's going to come on this show, and he was like, you really should look at new homes, and I was really hesitant about it because I'm just like, it sounds like, because I know my real estate. I know real estate, and I understand pricing, and I was price watching the entire country when we were looking at moving. No joke, all 50 states. I even was price watching Alaska.
Really? You're gonna go up
I wasn't going to go there, but I was price watching it anyways because I'm an idiot.
Okay.
And I was like, and then when my eyes got open to Texas being a thing, because I wasn't till about 9 months ago eyeballing Texas. For whatever reason, I just wasn't eyeballing Texas.
Well,
Why?
The film industry is probably coming here.
It's kind of
moving this way.
I think there's an enclave that's going to happen here, and I think that there's a whole lot of resistance to going to Texas from the film industry. I can tell you that right now. The ones that are here, they're here because it's their own reasons. They're here. Then the others are not going to come here. Like they're just not. I don't believe so for a second. I think that they're going to try to hold their own in Georgia, and for the most part, they're trying to reconsolidate in LA. They're trying to regain their own home turf. But outside of that,
I see half of them moving down there to Austin.
Oh yeah, no. There's going to be a chunk that will. I think the industry and the money is going to be resistant to do it. There's guys like Tyler Sheridan, and there's a group of them that are going to hang out in this area. But a lot of that comes down to political reasons, and they just don't want to be with Hollywood. Right? They just don't enjoy.
Well, a lot of people don't want to be in Hollywood anymore.
Ain't nobody. The Hollywood people don't want to be in Hollywood anymore. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, ain't nobody wants to be over there with those people.
And we all sit around and watch them.
I don't.
You watch them.
And I don't even watch. Like,
you watch them while you're doing your video.
That's about it. That's about it. Like. I can't even watch movies that I were part of.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Why?
I've never watched a movie or a show that I was part of. It's weird.
That is weird.
It is weird.
It's kind of like playing football, or sport. You go back and look at your film, see where you made a mistake.
Yeah. Well, it's
how come you hadn't done it?
Because I see the thing. I see it. Okay. There's a scene on HBO's Watchmen, and I think that's long been canceled. Then I was a part of the first season when they were shooting that, and the way that they had built the set in this like auditorium looking thing with a weird clown. I don't know. It's weird. That's just a weird show. And there was just the way it was built, like it's just insane, right? It was surreal being inside of it, and you could see like 3 stories up, they had the inside the soundstage, where they had the whole set deck, and it was built, and and I can remember exactly when that scene was shot, where I was standing behind the camera. That messes with me. I'm not paying attention to the show anymore. I'm thinking, oh, I was over there. I was this way. I was this way behind camera. Oh, on that one, I was up on the second balcony looking down. I can't watch a show like that. That's not fun.
That'd definitely be weird.
It is. It's weird because it kind of is like, I remember being there. I remember exactly where I was during each of the segments. And I'm just like, no, it's not for me. I like the mystery of like how they did it, how it was made. Like, and Watchmen is another good example. The big giant like halo figure that's like, and how they shot that. I know exactly how they shot that. They shot it with like 16 cameras in a circle in this giant green screen dome. And then there was a person standing in the center. And then they shot it that way. It was shot 360 degrees and all the green screen. And it was just it was a trip. And then I see how they did it. And it's like, oh, that's what it ended up being. And I'm like, now I see it. And I'm like, I just like, there it is. Like, you know, it ruins it for me. So like when I watch movies, there's stuff that I was never part of. Shows that I was never part of. But on the real estate stuff, it's really an interesting time. Like Texas, I believe, is the anomaly right now.
So why did you pick Texas? Why did you bring your family here?
So
and what would you tell everybody in Georgia why you came here?
So I basically was like, well, I was tired of Georgia for a number of different reasons. The weather, while it is very similar to Dallas, they're very similar. Heat, very similar. Humidity. Atlanta is very tall pine trees. I really hate 100-foot tall pine trees.
How come?
They're terrifying.
Oh, why? Your brother's gonna fall on your house?
Yeah. They're 100-foot tall pine trees in your neighbor's yard that they won't cut. And so when the wind kicks up, which the wind is stronger here, but you know, I think we get more tornadoes there now than Texas does. And when wind comes through and it's 40, 50, 60 mile an hour gusts, those pine trees are moving 40 feet across the sky. You can watch them up there. 40 feet. You're watching them cross your property line and out into the street they're bending so far. And it just takes one good moment that tree was weak.
How many have you seen on top of a house?
A lot of them.
How many people died from it?
A lot.
Really?
Oh, God, yeah.
Houses.
Every year. Every year. Every year there's people that die in Georgia from falling trees. And like we spent a ton of money. We cut every pine tree down in our entire yard. There were 6 of them. They're not cheap.
No.
They are
Probably
very
about
expensive.
$3,000-5,000 a tree.
Yeah.
Not more.
Yeah. Early on, luckily we cut the majority of our trees down early when it was still a lot cheaper. We could get a crew out there for, I think it was like our first time we cut 4 trees down for like $5,000. But we left 2 trees because they were hard to get. And then we ended up going back to get them a few years down the road. And then that tree cost $3,000. And I was like, well, I should have just
they got
done
all
it.
lumber out of it.
Uh-huh.
Did they?
Oh, no, they
don't burn it?
That's the crazier thing. They don't lumber trees that are chopped down in residential areas. Those logs are just, they're off to, they might have a broker that sells them off, but for the most part, all the Georgia farms, the pine farms, which, I think Georgia had has the biggest pine farm in the country. It's insane. Because they grow so fast. These things are weeds. I'm not even joking. I pluck pine trees out of my yard. Pluck them. Because there's hundreds of them.
Yeah,
there's hundreds of these saplings. And in 1 year's time, they're going to be 3 feet tall.
Yep.
You wait till the second year, you ain't pulling them out by hand now. Now you're cutting them out by because they're now like 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet tall.
$50.
They won't. Nobody will buy them. They grow everywhere.
Buy them back here.
Oh yeah. You can ship them back to Texas. Don't start the pine tree thing here. Keep them out.
You go to East Texas, you get a lot of them.
Really? Yeah, you do, because it's right on like the border, the Louisiana border. Because I noticed, I was like, please, pine trees, go away. When I was driving here, I was like, God, go away. And then finally we got to a certain part where it was like the pine trees are gone. I'm like, yes! I'm like, they're finally gone. But
the house I just bought has a big cypress in it, which is not really a pine, but if you look at it, its needles are far from being a pine.
Right.
I mean, it's really similar.
Yeah.
And
the root structure
they're massively grow, and it will dig down until it hits the water.
See, that's what makes them safer, though. You know what the pine? You know what the pines do? You know those 100-foot tall pine trees? Their roots are 6 feet deep.
You know what the oaks do?
They're
2 feet deep.
But they are strong. You
can be.
Removing them oaks. Well, oaks. So we have a lot of oaks and maples in Georgia too. They're probably, well, yeah. Because we had a big maple right next to our house. We weren't going to cut it down because there's no threat. That thing ain't going to de-earth. Like, it's just not going to happen. But the roots were so big that they had spread across our entire property. And cutting it down can risk sinkholing our foundation.
So,
Because they degenerate, right? Once the tree's dead, the roots will start to degenerate. Well, you can have trunks 1.5 to 2 feet wide underneath your foundation. It could be spreading throughout your entire underneath your foundation. And it's fine because it decompresses the earth. But the second you kill it, as it starts to decompress, all of a sudden your entire foundation can be floating.
never really thought about it that way. I've built a lot of houses, but I've never really thought about it that way. But I'm pretty good about clearing a lot where my house will be.
Right.
And trees
Right.
20 foot off of it.
Yeah. Well, back in the 80s, they weren't.
No, they just stuck them up in the
Stuck
trees.
them up, like, yeah, looks good.
Hey, cut a hole in there.
Yeah.
Get 500. I'll leave the 7,000 other trees on this acre. Don't worry about it.
God, that's so true. But yeah, so like the real estate prices in Atlanta, they peaked and then they never really came back down. And we were in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath from the 1980s that was $360,000. And yes, is it worth that? Sure, because the area demands that cost. But we were looking to go into a 4 or 5-bedroom house. We really wanted it for a number of different reasons. And we ended up, we're looking north, way north, up into like Dahlonega, which is 2 hours north of Atlanta. It's a nice little town, right? 4 bedrooms, $500,000, $600,000. 2 hours north of them, up into Blue Ridge, Blairsville, $600,000 for a 4-bedroom house. I'm like, there's no way the economy here
Can support them.
can support a $600,000 home. If the cheapest home they have is $350,000 and it's like a 2-bedroom, 1 bath,
In that apartment.
it makes no sense. Like, how do the people that live there, work there, the economy in and around there are supporting that housing? It made no sense to me. So I was starting to look outside of Atlanta. I'm like, or Georgia. I'm like, Georgia's in a bubble that's kind of scary. Like Atlanta, sure, is strong, and that's why I'm not worried about the price of my house that I'm actually selling right now. But I'm just looking at the health of the entire thing. It looked terrible. So I was looking around, and I looked around, and I looked at Arkansas. It has really good deals, but it's Arkansas. And Tennessee is a lot like Georgia. It's way overpriced. It's got a decent economy, not as good as Georgia. But the price of housing is just super high. And I guess it's just because the further to the eastern board you are, those prices starts just devouring. It just, the southeast started becoming, it's just the east now. And I looked through a variety of different states that I thought would be really cool to live in. Montana. There's like a part of Montana that nobody lives, and the prices are super low, and there's a reason nobody lives there. And then there's like the part that everybody wants to live, and those prices are unimaginably expensive. So, okay,
Like
cool.
Butte.
Yeah, the whole western board.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. So I want on an acre, a 2-bedroom, 1 bath costs $750,000. I'm like, okay, well that's not gonna happen. It's just,
You got to be kidding me.
no. There's parts up there that are like, because they're all lakes and it's all really pretty and it's valleys and and especially when you get up right to the Canadian border, it gets insanely expensive. And you could find some deals in like the $500,000 to $600,000 range for that are like 3 bedrooms.
But do you buy a house thinking you're going to sell it?
No, I was like, because I needed there's a specific sizing I needed. I needed that 4 or 5 bedroom. Let's not even discuss what 4 or 5 bedrooms were costing in that state. I was just like,
So when I look at a house to buy, I'm looking to see what my equity position is going to be in 5 years.
well, that's part of it, right?
That's where I kind of come in with all of my stuff. I literally walked away from a build job that I was going to build personally for my wife and I. And it's on 10 acres, had the plans drawn, and I just wasn't comfortable there.
Yeah.
There were some issues that I didn't like about the developer. And there was issues with how he wants to take down the last 40 lots, and he's going to take him 15 years to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I look at that, he kills my equity.
Yeah.
He kills, and my wife's most likely going to outlive me. I mean, she's 9 years younger than me. I want my wife to be able to sell what she has and live. I mean, our houses are paid for, so
Right.
I don't have to worry about it. If there's equity position in over what we paid for that house, I want her to be able to have whatever she can get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And sitting there for 15 years with a build job or a home that we have, and you're not going to get the appraisals.
Right. Right.
The neighborhood's going to state what appraisals we can conform with.
Yeah.
One prettiest piece of property probably in the West City area, and I walked away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Bought a place on the lake in Rockwall, just solely because I did not see the equity position in the property.
Yeah.
Like the property right now, I'm almost double what I paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
A year and a half.
Yeah. When we bought bought the previous house in 2020, March 3rd or 4th of 2020. It was like the day the pandemic turned on, like it was lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
We had closed on the house because we had to get out of that apartment complex. The writing was on the wall. This was about to go south, and we did not want to be in an apartment complex when it did, for a number of
Well, I
reasons.
think the whole world went that way because there's a lot of people bought houses during COVID.
Well, we bought it because I saw it coming in about February. Technically, I saw it coming in December. Roy Dalio pulled a giant short on his own company. And it was like a $3 billion short position on his own company in December. And it was a 3.5 month position. Just saying. It's not like he didn't see something coming. And I follow these people, right? I follow Dalio. I follow Clinton. I follow all of them.
Insider trading on your own company?
Yeah, you would think.
Is that real?
He did it, and it worked. It was a great position. Because he's a hedge fund. Maybe hedge funds have slightly different rules because they're allowed to run shorts. That's what he runs as a hedge
But
fund.
on your own company?
Fuck, right?
You just destroyed your own company.
Well, a short doesn't hurt the company.
Go help it.
Don't help it, but it doesn't hurt it. It's an insurance policy. He declared it. He called it an insurance policy. It was a short position. Get out of here. It's a fucking. If the company starts to drop because everybody's selling, the company makes a ton of money back, and that's basically what he did. And I saw that, and I was like, "There's something big happening," and I don't know what it was. I couldn't see exactly. I couldn't tell you it was a virus.
Just a gut feel.
There was a strong gut feel. I had $120,000 in the bank, and and I had an opportunity. There was two options that I had. I was going to invest a ton of that money into Tesla, or we were going to buy a house. And the inner prepper in me said, Tesla was a great deal at that time. Yes, I would have made a ton of money. I'd be a multimillionaire right now if I had done that. But the safety component of we don't want to be in an apartment complex. Something bad is about to happen. And we started shopping around for houses in February. We got one mid-February. We were closed by mid-March. And we went into lockdown. It was so bad on lockdown, we almost couldn't get out of our lease with the apartment complex. There was nobody working.
Oh, wow.
And if nobody's working,
does that
nobody's
mean you
taking.
don't have to pay rent?
No, you still have to pay. You just can't pay anybody. Oh, it was crazy. They weren't ready for it. Like nobody was ready for it.
I never thought about it that way.
Oh my God! It was because I was like, oh my God, like these people are incompetent. I already knew they were incompetent, and here we are. We're going to be stuck in the middle of the pandemic, and we control nothing. And we're around a bunch of people that if they decide to loot, and I didn't even know the pandemic was happening. I'm like, I do not want to be in the city. Like, because I was nearing, Sandy Springs is still a burb. It's in the perimeter. That's as Atlanta as you're going to get. You don't live in Atlanta. I mean, there are some that do, but for the most part, I'm 10, 15 minutes from Atlanta. where I was living in like Sandy Springs. And we closed on the house. We put 50% down because we wanted to squeeze our mortgage to nothing. Financially, our financial advisor was super pissed at us at the time. He was like, "You're wasting your money." He wasn't wrong, but there was a reason why. I'm like, there's something happening. I don't know what it is, but it's big and it's going to change the face of the country, and it's happening as we're in it. I'm like, literally, I'm like, I felt like, what's his face from '08? That was like, the housing market's crashing, guys. It's over. Like, this whole thing is coming to an end. So I felt it. It was like January, February. I'm like, we got to get out. And I knew employment was going to become questionable, whatever it was, right? Jobs. I knew my industry was probably doomed. There was a good chance my wife, who had nice stability in her job, could be doomed. At the time that she was in a tech company, I don't want to name names because that particular tech company ended up laying her off. But when we put 50% down at the rates that they were, our mortgage was $500 a month.
It makes it life a little easier.
Oh yeah, if we get laid off, we had 6 month emergency fund on the high end, right? And of course, I'm a prepper, so I have like a 1 million calorie food supply of dried food and water. We had to squeeze everything down. That's 6 months. We could make it go a year. And with a mortgage like that, we're sitting real strong if shit goes sideways. It did go sideways. Within 3 months of the pandemic, her company laid off 30% of their people.
Oh, wow.
She was one of them. And it was a raffle. They raffle laid off.
Huh? Explain that.
Pull a name out of a hat. You're gone.
No way.
You're gone. Yep. C-suite were being laid off. Regular people were laid off. Like, it was just a randomized laid off 30% of the company. And then later, they laid off 30% more of the company. So I think it was like 45% total of their entire company was laid off inside of 6 months. And luckily, she was able to get into a really good company, a real solid company. Good. That's questionable. Honeywell.
Yeah, that's a good company.
Good, but questionable as a company because, they're so big. Once you're so big, the decisions you make, a lot of the times are questionable. Like, you make decisions based on almost purely stock data and what Washington says. Here's what the stock market, here's what Wall Street says, here's what Washington says. Okay, here's what we're going to do as a company. It's like, that's not how companies should run, but, that's like...
Been around forever.
Right. And, yeah, I mean, they've been around for 100 years, so it was a nice, stable company, but when she got laid off, we were like, luckily we did do the thing that we did, because it put us in a position where we're like, okay, well, no stress. Whatever. It is what it is now, and we wrote it out and continued doing our thing. But yeah, so Atlanta never really dropped in prices. And here it was just like, I was only almost pinging states that were having depression pricing, right? I told myself I'd never live on the Gulf. I won't. You cannot pay me to live on the Gulf.
I didn't mean to do that one video.
Oh, you're good. You're fine.
This thing's going mad over here for some reason.
It's because you're in recording. That's why.
Yeah, well, that's got me all wondering what was on it, so now I don't have to worry about that. I apologize.
Oh, you're fine.
So do you like Texas?
I do like Texas. I like the weather a lot more. It's less cloudy, less frequently. Mm-hmm. When it is cloudy, it blows through. It seems to blow through a lot faster.
Sometimes.
In Georgia, it can hang for months.
Oh, yes.
Months.
Definitely. It's very foggy out there in the mornings, too.
Yeah. Well, and like the fog here is actually kind of cool. Even like when it comes through, it's like, oh, that's kind of cool.
It'll hit here and be out by 11, usually.
Yeah, right. And then, but like, there's longer days of sustained sun. You guys, I mean, Texas, at least, Dallas area has an interesting jet stream where you can actually feel the Gulf humidity come in, where Atlanta has its own humidity. It's a constant state of around 60 to 70% humidity, Where here it'll dry up.
Yeah,
It'll be dry, but then it'll be like this breeze of humidity that comes in for the day. And I imagine during the summer that sucks, but it's different. It changes a little bit more. And I do like that. On the whole, like, do I buy house when we bought real estate? Do we buy on, what do you call it? Prospectus. Yes, 100%. So when I was hunting, when I localized, we're moving to Dallas, and it was in the last in the last 3 months. I was like, okay, Dallas is pretty much it. That's where we're going. It ended up everything east of Dallas, east of those lakes, the Ray Hubbard and the other one north of it. Unless if it's all Ray Hubbard, I'm not sure. Those two lakes, I know enough about cities that those lakes created a barrier of city nonsense. You know, it's like, cities have city problems. And no matter what city you are in, those lakes created a nice little wall, a very big wall, that prevents a lot of the city issues spilling over. Again, me from a prepping standpoint, I'm like, if anything was to really bad happen in this country where all the cities go up into smoke, well, those bridges that cross, they're gone.
Okay.
That's going to keep Dallas over there.
Okay.
Like,
Go east, brother.
the roads, accidents happen once the cars get congested and nobody crossing anymore, right? Like, it is a barrier. And
So what you're saying, we're in a good place for riot control.
yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Oh my God! I finally moved to the right place in life. I'm right across the lake.
Well, and then obviously then there was like, where is what I did is I looked at basically DFW on the map, and I just looked at what houses are for sale, and I noticed that there was a huge, from all the way down south of Forney, all the way up north towards the east side of McKinney, there was just this monstrous amount of like real estate available. I mean, there was more real estate available in just the Forney area than there is the entire metro Atlanta area.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't go to Forney.
Originally, I was going to go to Travis Ranch. Now, granted, that is an entirely different area, and it was specifically the Travis Ranch Marina because there was a house just like damn near Lakeside. I was across the street from Lakeside, and that is where my first offer was going to go. And then that's when I met Richard. He said, "Have you ever thought about looking at new builds?" And I was like, "No, but tell me more. Because I'm always interested. Teach me. I'm willing to hear." And he started explaining it, and he's like, "Yeah, you could get this kind of an interest rate. These are the prices of the houses." I'm like, "Really? Here we are." I looked at this area. Well, because I don't buy houses like a normal human. Most people want to see their house. They want to like see if it feels home to them. No, I'm a spreadsheet. I picked the house I am living in right now off of a spreadsheet.
I buy a used house. I literally walk in and I go, "All right, what can I do to make this my house?"
Right. We placed an offer before I had seen it. I literally was a spreadsheet. I had like I told you, I had something I wanted. 4 bedroom, 3 bath, a little over 2,000 square feet. No mud, no pit, because it was Texas. No mud, no pit. Okay, so there was 2 options.
Are there pits and muds in Georgia?
No.
No,
that's a Texas thing. I've never seen that. That was the whole thing I had to learn. I'm like, what in the hell is this? A property tax on top of property taxes? And later I learned exactly what it was and why. And a lot of it has to do with because Texas doesn't have a state income tax. All of this is derivative from the no state income tax, which is huge.
Muds and pits are developed more so for the construction of the community.
Correct, but they don't exist in any other state.
Which is weird because we're not the only state that outgrows our cities, and the developer has to put in the municipal utility district for water and sewer because the city can't afford to do it.
Well,
so they bond
when
out.
You have state income tax, the state covers it. So if you think about how much money the state of Texas is losing because it doesn't have a state income tax. Yes, the property taxes are a little higher. In my case, I think it's like 0.75% higher than what I paid before. That's it. 0.75%. But Georgia has a state income tax. And if you think about the millions of people that are in the state of Georgia, and those people are all paying state income tax.
We pay property taxes and still have a mud in the pit.
Right. We have state income and then property taxes. The property taxes are higher here, but I can understand why it's not enough. Especially when you're talking the municipalities. The municipalities, your local cities, you don't pay city tax for the most part, unless you're like in crazy states that allow it. The cities depend on states to provide infrastructure support. The state would come in. Where's the state getting the majority of its money? Property taxes and state income. You eliminate one of those. That's why it's got to be, because I've never seen a mud or a pit anywhere else. It was just a unique thing to Georgia or to Texas, and I was like, but not all places have them. I'm like, that makes sense. Okay, so I literally just told my real estate agent, no mud, no pit, 4-bedroom, 3-bath. He literally just says, you know what? Instead of me sending you listings, he's like, how about this? Because you seem like a numbers person. He just sent me a spreadsheet with all the different communities.
That sounds like Richard.
And I'm like, hey, I like that one over there. You know what? This one's really good. Let's put an offer on it because I don't want to waste time, and then we'll go see. We got due diligence. We can always work around it. He did. He drafted the offer, sent it, and then like the next day we did a video walkthrough, and I'm like, looks great, cool, we're good.
Him and I crunched a lot of numbers to get you where you were.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I bet, because there's a lot of stuff going on, and there's a lot of
interest rates.
Yeah.
We're always having to compare. We always buy the rate down for our clients.
Right. Yeah.
We help you pay closing costs.
Yep.
They're not, people think we're just giving that money. It's part of the sale.
It's all in it.
It's all tied to it. You need to get to a payment. You don't really know what you need for price. Everybody's like, well, I need 10 grand more off. I got to pay $68.
Right.
10 grand, $68 off. You're not saving anymore.
Right. Yeah. And so like even for us, like we put 25% down on it, and I knew exactly what my payment was going to be on that 25% down. And I'm like, if I'm not having to factor anything else in, like real estate, agent and anything else, I'm like, great. If they can get the price to this, and I remember with the offer, it was sitting at 365. We offered it was 345. It came back to 360 or something like that, and then we went to 359. And I'm like, ran the numbers. I'm like, okay, we'll throw 5% more at it because we wanted my wife.
Everything was about payment.
Everything was about payment. My wife specifically wanted to be south of 1,500 because we were going to float the second mortgage while we were selling the other house. And at the end of the day, we were going to pay this off anyways, in a very expedited time frame. And free up that extra $1,500 a month to throw into investments and do all that stuff. And yeah, that's what we ended up doing. It was literally look at the payment. We don't want to stress the income zone. We almost went with 30% down. And I remember telling the underwriter, I was like, yeah, we're going to 30% down. And I told him a week later, nope, change it to 25% down. He's like, why? He's like, is there a problem? I'm like, no, there's not a problem. We're just looking at about how much money it's going to take to move, and we're trying to create an additional buffer. Thank God we did.
Really?
Well, because it was movers.
I forgot about your movers.
Yeah, like there was a ton of additional costs that got thousands of dollars, and then like the like the soft water thing and the little bit of plumbing thing there, and then. What else did we spend money on? Getting my car back up into working condition. Because, the poor thing is only 23 years old.
Are you talking about the Toyota?
Yeah.
It could use a bath.
It's got one.
Oh, you got it?
It's happening right now. Yeah, it's done. It's done today. Yeah.
About time.
It got new tires. It got the steering column shifter thing fixed. And then now it's an old car. But it's a good car.
It's paid for and it runs.
Yeah.
Toyota will last forever.
Yeah, and that's the goal. If I can make it last forever, will we have a new car? Yeah, but it probably won't be for a couple years now because we have to get back into stability because it's the craziness of moving
And the
and
move, the cost of move is
Yeah.
astronomical.
yeah,
You start looking at what people have and what they have to move, and then you got to hire a mover,
yeah.
and that's another. I haven't met I have not met an honest mover.
I don't think they exist, man.
I don't.
I don't think
It
they
is the most
exist.
crooked business.
It
The
is.
last house that Dale and I moved out of, they sent these packers in here. She was already up here, and I let them do their thing. I wasn't really paying attention. They packing in boxes. We had 180 boxes packed. Okay. Well, all of a sudden, I'm looking in the truck and I'm seeing boxes squashed, and I go.
How's that even a possible thing?
I started opening all the boxes they put in, one item per box, and they charged me by the box. Their packing crew literally came in, and they would put 10 utensils in a box this big, and then we went from one truck to 2 trucks to 3 trucks.
Oh my god.
Yes, it was the biggest con game ever. Next time we get together, I'll tell you who he is. He's down in Houston. He's a roid raging dude, man. I've never seen anybody scream at employees like he did. He would just start cussing them out. I finally told him, I said, "You can get out of my house." I go, I don't even care. Just throw my stuff in the garage and leave, because I don't want that kind of person in my house.
Right.
He was the most destructive person I ever met when it came to watching his staff work. I've never seen camaraderie dead like that. They couldn't even work together. None of them. He lined them up out front after the first 10 minutes, cussed them all out, threatened to sue them and kill them and everything else. And one guy walked in, he's in tears. I'm like, dude, don't listen to that man. Just do what you got to do. Get out of here and go find another job when you get out of here.
Yeah.
I go, call me. I've got places to help you. I'll put you to work. You don't come to Dallas. I did, seriously.
Yeah.
One of the guys called me a couple weeks ago. He said, "Hey, I decided to open my own moving company," and I'm like, "That's great. I'm happy for you," because he was a good guy. He's actually a appraiser for real estate, and just could never get
It's hard.
build the business.
Yeah.
If you don't know people in this industry, it's hard to get in.
You better believe
It's kind of probably it's a whole lot worse than your industry. I'm sure.
It's way worse.
But
way worse.
This one's
the unions will be glad to take your money, and they provide not a single thing.
I've never understood unions. I've never.
It's just required now because once you're even in right to work state, it's still required because you just won't get on the set, and then you won't get on.
Shouldn't be legal.
It shouldn't be. And
I gotta pay you to come work before I even start a job.
it's a racket.
Sure.
That's all it is.
What's the difference between that and the mafia?
No, not a thing. They even act like the mafia.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So why is that legal?
Because they lobby.
That's why I think it'll end up leaving. Because we don't have that big of a union force here. I mean, it's here.
Yeah.
But it deals with certain things.
Yeah.
I totally believe that the film industry will leave where it is and find more neutral grounds to work in. Probably get better people to work for them.
Yeah. It'll clean out. It's just gonna take years. It's gonna go through a really rough time, and when it comes back, I think it'll come back for a while, smarter. For a while, and then
you'll be on the cutting edge of it.
I'll be retired by then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got.
I just came out of retirement, right?
I will retire probably like you.
Yeah.
It'll be like I do it. We're there. Okay, now when I do stuff, I'm gonna do stuff that I want to do with people that I want to do it, and that's it. Nothing more, and that's it.
I tried the retirement thing, and I will tell you, I've never been so lost for my life. I hated it.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. I'm not a hobby guy, So I don't have a ton of hobbies.
Right.
You know, I go play golf with the boys just because they have a set of clubs, and I'll go play golf with them.
Right.
But it's not like that's an everyday deal for me. I love to work. I enjoy the real estate life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not. I am licensed realtor, but I keep my license parked because it's easier for me to come in here and work the new home business than anything. I know it. I've built.
Yeah.
I've sold.
Yeah, well,
I've been
once
in
you got
every
one
piece of it.
license, you get another one. Before you know it, you've got all of them. You don't want to lose it because it's useful information. It's also useful.
Well, it gives you
tools.
data that you can't get on your own.
Yep.
I mean, that's why you have to hire a realtor nowadays, because you can't get all the data you need.
Right.
You can get most of it, but you can't get it all.